This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. It's episode 110 and 111. I can't count. Episode 111. I am Colteastwood, and for once, it looks like everything's working. Meg, how are you?
Oh my God, everything is working. I'm doing great, Colt. Glad to be here, excited to be here. We have a whole lot of nothing to talk about, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun, folks. We got a lot of great things to talk about tonight, and you know what the great things are? It's going to be like a Seinfeld episode, a whole episode filled with nothing. So tune in, strap on, hit that like button. I want to see at least 450 super chats, so at least we got something to talk about. And let's go, folks. Let's go.
We're gonna make up the news as we go along, but Decado says Micro Machine spokesperson. I hope you know that reference, that old Gen X reference, Micro Machine Man. Do you, Meg?
The guy's name, if I'm not mistaken, is Motormouth.
I could see him. I don't remember his name.
Ironically, he's an Italian guy too. Funny enough, Motormouth Machina, Motormouth Machina. I can't remember his bloody name. Anyway, it's Motormouth something or other. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts.
I gotta look it up. And he used to do commercials for. He did spots on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
John Machida Jr. Yeah. Wow, he looks so different now.
His name is Motormouth Machida or whatever it is. Machida.
Yeah, there you got it. You got it. You know your stuff.
That was him. Yeah, I know the dude. Yeah, I know the dude. Yeah, that's that. Anyway, that's me. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight, but I won't be plugging Micro Machine.
Yeah, like that. Before we get rolling, let me give a shout out to the channel members and veteran patrons as Mag will stretch out the ligaments and everything and get ready to do the show. But thanks, big shout out to Mark Carwell, KY Bob, Assassin Lupa, Jazzy Noop, Ricky Fallon, Jason Lewan, Moby, Lord Sin Eater, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Chance Wolf, William Lanza, Matt Burns, Yodana Kizada, Suicide King, Assassin Lupa, Robert Jackson, Dante J. Moody, Betamax, Dark CMF, Gaz, Zener White, Vario 2 Gaming, V Simco, Assassin Poochie, Dub, Larry Thatcher, a second. Yeah. I think I said a name that hasn't been on there in a while. But Dub, Haryeet Chani, TK Chillin, Raiden Blade, Acute Perspective, Risk for the Biscuit, True 77. I've actually memorized most of these names in their order too as well. Micah Ford, Red Source, Quinn's Army, A Tattooed Deer, Pesky Krogan, Pen Pineapple Pen, Trill Roberts, Macbound, Meat Puppet, Neil B, Xbox International, Red Wolf, Alan Deltry, Gamer by Choice, Jedi J Gonley, Rippin, Highlander 001, Techno Caveman, Fire 77, That Blue Number, who I've been playing games with lately, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Silent Cypher, and Uncle Chowder. Thank you so much for being channel members and supporters of what we do here on the show. Let's start with Mag. Mag, you've been busy this week. What video games have you been playing?
Well, by the way, before I even get into that, I was going to bring up something about the Micro Machines. I'll tell you what's not going to be a Micro Machine, the PS5 Pro. That thing's going to be the size of one of these cabinets over here. It's going to have a turbine engine in the back to keep it cool. I can't wait for it. It's going to be super exciting. I'm going to have to build a whole separate part of the house to put it in there. But anyways, games.
You always project the show like you always do the foreshadowing for the bombs we're about to drop. I love it.
Hey, that's what we got to do. So,
have you had time to play? Like, have you been working your face off? What is it? What is it?
I was traveling a lot for work last week, and it was very unpleasant. However, I was still able to get some gaming in, and I got... That's right. Call me a platinum, kids. Platinum, Jesus Christ. Call me a pony. I got the platinum on Jedi Survivor.
Call me a platinum. I got the pony.
What a slog that was at the end.
Did you like that game?
Okay, I love the game. It was great. I mean, I wouldn't have platinumed it if I didn't like it, right? Or if I get 1,000 of 1,000 on it on a game or whatever on Xbox, I'm only going to do that if I like it. The only problem is the final trophy that I needed / achievement. Anybody playing on Xbox, you'll know the same thing. Is there's this gigantic, like, I don't know, this alien slug thing. And no, it's not Jabba the Hutt. And it's in like this, whatever, like a marketplace. And she sells all these goods. Now, in order to buy these goods, you have to find all these little nodes. There are literally 100 of those little nodes to find. on 2 planets, on Kobo and Coruscant. You have to find all 100 of those bloody things and then go back to the store and literally buy everything that's on the list. And everything on the list costs exactly, you guessed it, folks, 100 nodes. So that was unbelievable. Well, we were talking about it last week with Rand. I'm like, listen, I got like...
You mean 100, if you wanted to buy everything in the store, it's going to cost you getting every
nodes.
single collectible.
Yep, and it was, and you have to get every single one. It was so unnerving. I was, why did I just kill something? Anyways, it's done with now. Now, I want to encourage everybody because it's coming out in the fall. I just started. Well, I'm about halfway through now. Alan Wake Remastered. I know it came out last year.
I bought it and played it 5 minutes.
Really, dude, it looks fantastic.
I loved it back in the day. I loved it on 360. Go ahead. Sorry.
You know what's funny? I played it on the 360. Didn't like it. I played it, I got through it, but now I went back and I played the remastered, and the remastered is wonderful. I thought the graphics look great, it plays great, I have no issues with it, and I'm like, this is awesome. I think it's like $11 or something on Xbox, and if you have PlayStation, it's free on PS Plus right now. So I think that's in like anticipation of the game coming out. So I'm going to be getting 100% on that because I'm enjoying myself, and I dove back into Dead Island 2 with my wife. So
I dived it in.
I dived in.
You dived back into what?
Dead Island 2. So,
oh, bro.
Yes,
I was just talking to Tim Dog.
Yeah.
Are you guys playing it together?
No, not with Tim Dog. No.
No. You were.
Oh.
Yeah. You said you and your wife got back into Dead Island 2. So I thought that was what you were saying. Okay.
No.
Wait, are you married to Tim Dog?
I'm married to Tim Dog. There it is, guys. The cat's out of the bag. It's all done. There it is. Everybody knows the truth now. So there it is. But anyways, that's what I'm doing.
Meg makes Tim put a mop on his head so he looks like he has long flowing hair, and he goes woo woo with his shoulder. Yeah.
Just remind me of prison, which I've never been to. But it's okay. You know what? It ain't a crime if you don't get caught. However, that being said. I'm gonna be.
You're off the rails, Mag. You're off the rails.
I'm burning through this backlog, baby, because I'm not buying a single bloody game. I'm not buying anything until the backlog is done, and I'm only got about 5 or 6 games left, and then I will get into the Starfields. Then I will maybe get into that Final Fantasy 16 at some point, and then we got the fall games coming up, right? I mean, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Call of Duty. Senua's Saga at some point. The Avatar game in December. Like, there's stuff to play, man.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I gotta know what you think of Dead Island 2 because I really enjoyed it. So far. Tim's excited. Like he was in party chat with me an hour ago, and he was like, "Oh, God, I love it." That's where I love it from. He was having a great time. But I feel like not a lot of people played it, but you're liking it.
It seems, by the way, unrelated but somewhat related. If everybody remembers that the first game was made by Techland, right? Who ended up making the Dying Light. I don't know if anybody knew this, but today there was a little bit of news. Tencent bought Techland today. Did you see that? What a disaster! It makes me so mad.
Mag's just basically burned through all of the show's over. Thanks for coming. No, we were going to talk about it.
Have a great night. We'll see you guys all next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in from 8 o'clock Eastern.
Make sure to hit the thumbs down on your way out. And
there it is.
It's so funny. There's not much to say, but we will get into that. But
sure.
There's a little bit to that. That's another thing that people like throw fireballs at me about. So you're playing Dead Island 2, and you're still waiting on Final Fantasy 16, which
I'm not touching. I'm not buying a single game till my backlog is done. So right now is Dead Island 2, Alan Wake Remastered, and then I've got, what else do I have? Oh, I've got Dying Light 2. That's another one that I'm going to be playing.
You haven't played that?
No, because I bought it on sale, and I wanted them to get all the bugs out of the way, right? I want them to fix all the bugs and everything else.
No, I mean, it was pretty decent at launch, but yeah, awesome. Wow, you're going to be...
I'm busy. I got that, and then back on the PlayStation side of things, I got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. So, and I'm going to platinum that as well, and then I will get into Starfield and whatever else. So I'm going to get through all that, man. I'm not touching a damn thing, and you know what the thing is? At the end of the day, by the time I get through all of those games anyhow, even if I bought a game at, like let's say tomorrow, game launches tomorrow, I wouldn't touch it for another 3 months anyway. So what's the point of buying it now and just staring at the tile? You know what I'm saying? Like staring at the tile for 3 months. By the time I actually get to the game, it's already discounted on Black Friday. So you know what? What's the point, man? Makes no point. It's just that FOMO is now out of my system. It's out. I'm cured of FOMO forever. I feel like those Baptist churches where like they smack the guy in the head. They're like, "You're cured," and the guy's like, and they're dancing and stuff. That's how I feel right now.
We slow down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Slow. Your listing, your backlog, I will put a stamp on it. That's a good, reputable backlog that deserves your time. And I'm sure that the chat would agree as well. Those are great games. Dying Light 2 is really good. The second half gets it wears on you a little bit. Like kind of did this a little bit too much because they made the game a little bit too big. But it's a great game. Dead Island 2 is more focused, like 20 some hours. It's beautiful. It just feels great. It's a great game. I don't know why nobody played it. And
that's strange. I talked to Wilmy Hood. He played it through like 2 or 3. Where in 23? Oh my God, let Colt speak. He'll speak right now. He was just speaking. Where were you?
I'll speak when Mag says I can speak. You know, it's funny. We were
I'm like the one who knocks.
Someone's like, Colt, you interrupt Mag too much. And then someone's like, Mag talks really fast. And then I'm like, I'm trying to figure out, Mag and I don't know what we're doing. We don't even, in fact, are we even live right now? But no.
I don't even know. I think we're still in.
But no, we appreciate, it's almost 700 people here checking out the show. And hit the like button if you're about to have fun. Let me give you a breakdown before I talk about what I've been playing, because it's kind of a funny little story. But we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about some new games that are coming this fall and how people are reacting to them. We're also going to talk about the new consoles and where Xbox is sitting and some of the tech that is behind why we should get a next generation console. But what I've been playing, I haven't told people this, and if you've been watching the Ecstasy podcast long enough, you might kind of understand where I've been with games. I can't bring myself to get Final Fantasy 16 because everything about the game, I'm talking almost 90% of the game, screams, Colt, you're not going to like it and you're going to regret your purchase. So I've held off. I did not like, I hate to say this while we're live, I'm like level 25 in Diablo 4 and I just found almost no joy playing it. I didn't have fun. It didn't get me like everybody else was enjoying it. So I quietly just sat back, set the game down, and I just felt like I was in a lull over the past month or so where I couldn't find something I really, really liked. And this is so crazy, but I am so hooked on Fallout, West Virginia. Of course, you know it as Fallout 76, but I talked to Ben Kenobi, a friend of mine who's great graphic designer in the community, and he said, I'm just playing it. What's that?
Like the Jedi, Ben Kenobi?
Yeah, I thought
or the old hermit from Tatooine. Man, you know some pretty influential people. That's pretty cool. All right, carry on. I'm only friends with
everybody
Yoda,
has their great nickname, but people who do know who he is. He told me that he was just playing a single player. I'm like, Ben, I already did. I'm like, Uncle Ben, I already did this. Like the game's been out 5-6 years. I've installed it every year at like when people say it's so good now, and I'll install the entire game and I'll sit down for 20 hours and go, man, I don't like this. As a massive Fallout fan, you may have heard this speech. Like, I don't like Fallout 76. Something clicked. So I started a new character and understood some of the mechanics. Now I went back to my old character. I have gone up like 5 or 10 levels this past week. I can't put the game down. I know it's weird. I want to talk about it too much because nobody cares about that game. But the point of the story is, Mag, yes. I found something that not only got me back where I want to grab my controller because I can't wait to play, but it is a game that I am enjoying every aspect and totally immersed. And forget what game I said I was playing. The point is I'm super happy that I'm enjoying it and I have something to kick back when I'm ready to just play games. And sometimes you all out there might be in that mode sometimes. Maybe it happens in the summertime. You're like, oh my gosh, why is Colt overpronouncing his K's? It's not.
I don't know.
That's
crazy.
Mic.
It's okay. It's other people in the chat are saying that Bethesda dropped the bag off at your house.
Yeah. I'm not watching the chat, but it certainly sounds like that.
That's usually the way.
So
it
I
goes,
didn't even. Here's another funny thing. Okay, so I do play on my PC from time to time. So that's where I picked Fallout 76 back up. I'm gonna load it up on PC. I'm gonna see if it can make it look better because it's always been just dog ugly. And I load it up and I'm like, it looks just like the Xbox version with FPS boost, just sharper details, just sharper resolution because it runs at 4K 60 on my PC right out the bag. Like you install it and it's just like, here's your settings. So I was playing for a little bit and then I'm like, I want to go back to the Xbox because I have like a really character going along. I'm like, why is FPS boost not available? The game's running at 60 frames. I had to Google it. This is how far off of I was. I usually follow this news. This is the last funny part of this Fallout story. I Googled it, and a month ago, Fallout 76 got a 4K 60 enhancement on Series X and PS5. And I had no idea. So here I am playing it basically PC style. It looks great. And then I played with Dante Moody, who's a friend of mine who I hang out in LA. He's a good friend of me on Xbox. And Holly, who is also a channel member and a good friend who I hung out with in LA. And we were playing yesterday and laughing and having a great time. So the point of the story is forget Fallout 76. I'm just super happy I'm playing the game. And that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Because whatever makes you happy, man, that's at the end of the day. It's just like, whatever makes you happy, that's what we're here to do. Because you know what? This is not our job. This is not our career. This is our enjoyment. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, we take it a lot more seriously than most other people, because otherwise, why would we be having shows talking about it, right? Or why we have like 800 people in the chat listening? We're all passionate about these things, right? So to us, it's more than just, picking up a controller, farting around for 20, 30 minutes and then going about your day. We take it obviously a lot more seriously. But anyway, that being the case, great, man. Whatever game you want to play, whatever system you want to play it on, have a blast. As long as you're having fun, who cares? You can be playing the Wii right now.
I guess it's a guilty pleasure right now, that game for me.
It's not guilty. Nothing to be guilty about. As long as you're happy.
Abe Froman sends a $5 super. Thanks, Abe. He says, I had to think for a second, but he said, imagine spending $44 billion to purchase Coca-Cola and then change the name to Taint Soda. And I think he's referring to Twitter. Yeah.
You mean X?
I know not a lot of people here or even care about Twitter, and sometimes we end up talking about it. But what happened, Mag? What happened today?
Well, it's important. I mean, Twitter is important. I mean, at least for this community, because a lot of our interactions, if not 95% of our interactions with the community, are on Twitter. Right? We've discussed, and if something were to happen to this situation, or people leave, or you get, like, for example, Wandering Dutch, one of my friends there, and one of our community members, midweek mix-up and all that jazz, he got permanently banned yesterday, I think it was, and so did another podcaster, Doom Cutie. She got permanently banned as well.
And the Epic Treasure got banned for 48 hours. What's going on?
I don't know. Something's going on. I think it's misreading algorithms with certain people. Because, like, for example, someone else was saying that if you're only reading tweets but not tweeting anything, they think you're a bot, right? And they think you're a bot, and then all of a sudden you get banned. However, that's not the case because, like Dutch, for example, and Doom Cutie, I've seen that they tweet fairly often, right? So it's not like they're just sitting there not interacting at all. I just don't understand it. But I don't know. Whatever, man. It's crazy. Either way, the name is now no longer Twitter. It's called, I don't know, is it VX or is it just called X? That's X.
Just called X. Weird. And normally the trend for social media platforms or social media apps is to take some weird, strange adjective from the English language, like flub, and call that like your app. Have you been on Flub or have you been on Corgon? Well, that sounds like something from
Corgon.
Star Trek.
Sounds like I was going to say a planet from Star Trek. Yeah,
Dead Planet goes, Corgon. Twitter sucks now, says some guy on Twitter. So, yeah, it's not a big deal. Honestly, the bird's still there, but, yeah, it's now called X. And
I thought the bird is going away. I think it's going to be
it's eventually going. Yeah, it's going to eventually go away. I don't know.
I still have the bird. The bird is the word. The bird is still showing up on my app. So
the most important thing is the X is the most important letter in the alphabet when it comes to the internet and for consoles. So
I mean, consoles, movies. My favorite movies are X-rated. My favorite consoles are X. My favorite social media is now X. It's perfect. I got everything in one. I got everything in one category. It's exactly what I wanted.
And now they want to call. Now they want to call when you send a reply, they want to call it like Zeets, like XEETS. Or I think it would be Zeets is how I would pronounce it if you have an X. X is in xylophone or something.
Really?
Or
Okay.
Zeets. I don't know. It's what a weird news cycle that we're going to talk about that. We have actually gaming stuff to talk about. Let's start with the one that Mag foreshadowed, and it has to do with me telling people in 2019 that Xbox was either going to buy Techland. Oh my gosh, I've started to mix the name of who the purchase went through. That Xbox is going to buy Techland, the team that created Dead Island and makes Dying Light 1 and 2, or Xbox was going to work with them in partnership and help them finish the game, which was in like a 2-year or 3-year development hell, and take a timed exclusivity window with Dying Light 2. That never happened. So what do we hear today? It wasn't a purchase. You followed the news, didn't you, Mag? You're on a podcast that talks about gaming.
I thought it was a full acquisition, but they retained their independence, and they also retain all their IP. So what the hell is it? Did they just invest in
Tencent
it?
paid for a majority share of Techland.
Okay,
it's hard to say Tencent and then follow it with Techland, vice versa.
I know, Tencent, Techland, yeah.
Yeah. So you're right, and that's what they even told fans when the big rumor went around that Microsoft wanted to acquire Techland. Right. Oh, well, that really makes your brain work. They want to retain that independence, which Tencent has struck a couple of deals like this lately where they've allowed those studios to remain as is, but Tencent's going to own a large market share or revenue share of what they create by helping fund what they're doing. I don't know how that works. I'm not working the market, but
the reason why is because I know that the Chinese government specifically were having issues with Tencent owning too many foreign companies. So what they did is to get around that, they started investing in all these companies. Like, for example, they've invested in EA, they've invested in Epic, they've invested in Ubisoft, right? By the way, I'm not going in a wheelchair so I can be Professor X, Wilk. Sorry, I was
talking to Zocker87, who he's a podcast extraordinaire, and he's like, when I watch your show, Mag randomly shouts out at someone in the chat, and I go, I love that. Like, that is the thing. I love that, and it's all out of love.
Yeah, no, somebody's like Mag needs to
Meg's
be
like,
Professor X
actually, in the professional market, according to the hey, I saw what you did.
Hey, I just saw what he wrote. He goes, Mag can be Professor X if we get him in a wheelchair. No dice, baby, because you know what? I got Professor X is standing. Look, I'm standing, I'm dancing, I'm good to go. Anyways,
you could be the next evolved Professor X.
Exactly. I could be the one with I don't know. I'll be walking around. We'll do that. Anyhow, that's what's going on. So the Chinese government doesn't want them owning too many foreign companies. So what they've been doing to get around it, sneakily getting around it, and also, let's face it, if you don't want to monopolize or even face scrutiny as Microsoft is right now, the best way to do that is to not purchase the companies entirely, is just to simply invest and get a return on your investment, right? Mm-hmm. So you're doing this. So you're putting your fingers in so many different pies, right? And so by doing so, you're collecting money from all these. I mean, look at it: EA, Ubisoft, Epic, now Tencent, and countless others. I'm not going to name every single bloody company that they got that they're dealing with, but that's what's happening, and that's the way that they can stay out of the scrutiny from these the anti-competitive markets or whatever else. Governing bodies, and as well to stay out of the scrutiny of the Chinese government, because you definitely don't want that. Right?
Something Xbox hasn't been doing. They certainly haven't tried to circumvent. They've just been trying to make the purchase and just pushing forward and knocking over everything on the way through.
Well, let's say the Western countries of the world, the governments aren't as, they're not the Chinese government. Let's just put it that way.
Not the same.
And you don't want to upset those people. Those people can make you disappear. I mean, so can the other ones. But I mean, more so them. Let's not upset them. So the point is, at the end of the day, they're doing all this just to invest. But it's a strange company to invest in. So they must have had, this is my thought, they must have had some really exciting IP announcements moving forward that Tencent saw and says, we see potential for the future. Because they're not looking at the past. They don't care what you already did. They want to know what's coming up. right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm interested to know why Tencent decided,
Exactly.
of all people in the world, they decided on
Yep.
Techland. And there had to be a reason. There had to be a compelling reason for Tencent to go, that sounds hot.
An
You know what
Eastern
I mean? That could
European
be-
studio that has made 3 games, for the most part. They made Dead Island, Dying Light 1 and 2. I think that's mostly what they've made. And I don't know what their investment is either, Mag. That's what I'm kind of wondering. What is their next thing? Like, what is Techland going to make? They're probably not going to make another Dying Light 2 right away. So maybe they have something in the works and Tencent saw it or got wind of it and said, hey, we want in on this. This is going to be big. Maybe they're making some big multiplayer game that sounds really promising. I don't know why they want a piece of that. Maybe Tencent wants to be in different markets like Xbox and PlayStation want, because Xbox said they wanted to be in the Eastern European market. They wanted to have a studio under their umbrella that is from that part of the world. They want to have them in Japan or in the eastern part of Asia, right? So
they have talented developers over there. They have talented studios over there. Why wouldn't you want to be involved, right? It's not as this is a global market, right? And so why not be able to invest in that part of the world too, right? I think it's a great idea. But Tencent got there first, so
I mean, you've played Dying Light 1.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was one of my top 5 games of last generation, no joke.
Dying Light 2 is not as good as 1, but there's like visually and some of the gameplay is superior. So there's a lot of great things about the second one, and you'll really understand when you start playing 2 how incredibly talented Techland is. You know, they just
did you play?
They're really close.
Did you play since the big update?
I did install it. They did. The game launched at 1080p on Series X. Right. A month later they got it up to 1440p 60, and then they, like you said, last 2 months ago, that they upgraded their gore system to compete with the flesh system. So you've picked a really good time to dive into Dying Light 2, bro.
It was 50% off, and I'm like, you know what? Now's the time to strike. So I went in and bought it for 50% off, and I'm like, why not? Right? And like I said before,
Brisket says Dying Light, bleh. I don't know if he means it makes him motion sick or he doesn't like it. I really thought Dying Light last generation was one of my favorite games. It was everything they did in that game, Mag, right? Everything they did was cool. Like the side quests are really great.
Amazing.
It was really good.
I got 1,000 of 1,000 on that on Xbox. I adored that game.
What's with the chat? They think you're Walter White now. Like they're always. I think they just want you. they want you to be as famous as possible, my friend. I love it.
I'm already as famous as possible, but you know what? We'll get even more famous. But listen, I enjoy all the things. Come up with new characters and new ideas for what I am and what I'm going to be next week.
Right.
So let's keep it coming, folks. Anything but Bruce Willis. I'll take that right now. Maybe Bruce Willis from the late 80s, early 90s, but not now. Anyhow, the thing is,
he's having health problems.
Well, he retired, right? So he's out. He's out entirely of movies, and his illness has taken over. So, not looking good for him. So, but anyhow, back to business here. I just like I said, I'm excited to play it, but I'll get to it. It's going to be one of those things that I'll get to as I'm crushing the backlog before I decide to purchase a whole whack of new games for the fall and beyond. Right, so that's just the way I'm going to operate.
Whack-a-noodle. Whole box of just love
the only game I'll tell you right now, the only games that I'll play day one are multiplayer games because you don't want to lose out on that community, right? So like,
I have to ask. I forgot to ask the chat. Like, is anybody interested in Remnant 2? It kind of snuck up on me for sure.
What?
My friends are. I don't know why, Mag. I don't know why. But now it's out. I can purchase it. I cannot purchase it because I'm playing a game I'm really loving. So Remnant's gonna have to wait. I played a little bit of the first one. Is it on your? No, I mean we already covered your radar, but
not yet. Not on the radar yet.
Noel say, Colt, we can do the 1440p now on the podcast. Yes, this show starting like 3 months ago, around the time I brought Mag on, I switched the overlay and all the assets at 1440p, so the show just looks nicer. And thankfully, my internet sort of can keep up with it enough, but I appreciate that. Yes, I also played Exoprimal. Christopher Lee says I've been hooked on Exoprimal. I played like 8 matches with Gaz. I'm like, this game's... I mean, I can see why it got a lower score, but I'm still enjoying it. It's dumb fun. It doesn't do anything incredibly amazing. The characters are kind of cool. I wish I wasn't fighting dinosaurs. It's kind of corny. Or as I said on, I used a word called, I said it was hokey. Have you ever used that word, Mag? You're old.
Very rarely, but it does crop in every once in a while, or pop in every once in a while. I get that word hokey in there. But yeah, I watched, I saw, I did, what's it called, Primetime Gaming last week, and the entire footage of the show on Boom Show was Exoprimal. So I hadn't played it yet. I haven't downloaded it yet, but it was there. And
so you were on the show going
gameplay. Yeah, I was kind of just sitting there watching the second screen, and I'm just like, let me watch this gameplay. So, and I'm like, okay, so it's basically like World War Z, just with like mini raptors.
Yeah.
Is that sort of sum it up?
I guess, I mean, I'm in a party chat with Gaz, so I'm not paying attention to the dialogue, but they're using a dimensional rift to bring in dinosaurs from the whatever, Paleolithic or Jurassic era, whatever it's called. They're dropping them in, and they're doing a simulation and making you fight these dinosaurs. They're just dumping them into the future in your dimension, and you just fight them. We did a mode where your team is the opposite team is a ghost, like in a race. So you move throughout the map that's very linear, okay, and they're fighting dinosaurs on their game, in their instance, but it will tell you as you hit checkpoints if they're killing the dinosaurs faster than you. Like you kill all the dinosaurs and the little mini boss, and then it says go to the next checkpoint. And so the competition is to who can get to the last checkpoint first. And then at the very end, you actually fight PvP with the actual players. And whoever gets there first, as far as I could figure, gets better, can get control of like a huge dinosaur. So if you get there first, you get to grab a T-Rex, and one of your teammates can control it and go, well, my arms are too short. I
was gonna say, so, you get the T-Rex and try to brush your teeth with the little arms, like I cannot reach my mouth.
My cups
ridiculous. Yeah. How am I supposed to drink this espresso? This is ridiculous.
But you have to drink the dinosaur has to put one pinky claw up as he drinks. It's a prerequisite for just the one pinky up. Shout out to the Birdcage movie for that reference. And we'll be here referencing stuff from the early 2000s and late 90s all day if you'll put up with us. Let me move to another super here. We've got Risk It for the Biscuit, who says, I want my geriatric Bruce Willis. Let's go. And Risk It, we want to see how long it takes for that beard to come back, but you're handsome as all get out, right? Right, Mag?
There you go.
Yeah, right.
There you go. You got your Bruce Willis. I'll do it. I'll do it until I go blind, and then when I go blind, I'm putting the hat back on from the glare.
You know what? I tell him every time, audience, that I like him with the hat off, but he doesn't like that big glare. But in post, we'll put like a diamond on the top of his head. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. Where was I? Oh, shout out to 900 people here. I don't often do this anymore because I get out of habit, but this is the XSC podcast. We are an Xbox News related podcast, and I'm here with Middle-Aged Game Guy, who is my amazing co-host from Canada, and I'm from America, and together we make Team North America of Xbox News, and we're also on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and other platforms. So if you're driving or you're mowing the lawn or whatever, you can listen to the show at your leisure, at your own pace. But we really appreciate you being here, and hopefully our limited personalities come through on audio only, but we do our best.
Limited?
We're only extremely entertaining, not uber extremely entertaining, I think.
Cordwainer, you're going to get a glare right this. I'm going to angle my head at a 45-degree angle for the rest of the show. So every time you look at the screen, you're going to go blind.
It's like a beam that just goes and burns everybody.
Uncle Chowder, just shave your damn head. I've been shaving my head since I was like 23. So it's not just because I was going bald. I also worked in those days. I worked in kitchens, like restaurant kitchens that were hot with no air conditioning, and nobody had hair because you die if you had hair in there.
How did the rat inside your hat direct you if you didn't have hair? I mean, everyone wants to know.
I Velcroed him to my head so that he wouldn't slip and slide all over the place. He wasn't able to grab onto any hair. But, listen, this is what's happening. Solar flare. Woo! There you go. Sorry. That's Ric Flair's cousin. Anyhow,
That was what the woo was for.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh. Okay, I'm putting up an unprecedented poll. I am asking the community: should I shave my head? Should
Dude,
Colt
just
shave
shave
his
your
head?
bloody head.
Because it's
do
very
it.
limited here. But yeah, we'll just for fun as I get to the next one. RDX Son of Fett, thank you so much for the Canadian $28. He says Digital Foundry said that if the Slim was coming this year, talking about the PS5 Slim, he said then it would have been announced at Comic-Con with the Spider-Man 2 console. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, and Mag and I'll take care of it. He says, so if the Slim isn't coming this year, then the Pro definitely is coming next year. Remember, RDX Son of Fett, that in 2016, PlayStation dropped the revised PlayStation 4, which we call the Slim, and the PS4 Pro in the same year. And I expect them to do the same. Mag, they just revealed this, half-cocked Spider-Man 2 console that everyone was like, looks fire. Looks amazing.
Like it. I mean, I'd buy the plates, but I wouldn't. Yeah, anyway, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy a whole console just for that. But, anyways, yeah. Sorry, what was the question? I was getting all excited.
No, I think kind of that was the question. Well, the question was,
oh, okay. Well,
they have this Spider-Man 2 console. They obviously want to sell it. Yeah. So I was thinking, why didn't they announce the Slim if it's coming and holiday 2024? When would they announce that? Would you think if they were going to announce a Slim and a Pro? When would you announce it?
I would have announced the Slim with Spider-Man 2 personally, and then you know what I would have done? I would have dropped $100 off the asking price on Black Friday. I was about to say Good Friday. On Black Friday, wrong holiday. I would drop it $100 on Black Friday, and just sell a boatload of consoles like they did. You remember when they had Spider-Man 1 and they dropped the Slim to like, what was it, $299 or something like that?
Yeah.
The PS4
oh, yeah.
Pro? Or not the PS4 Pro. It was just the PS4 Slim.
Yeah, they sold like pallets of them at Black Friday. Dude, it was nuts.
I saw pictures of guys in the States with shopping carts with like 8 consoles in them, and they were buying. And they're like, "Oh, we're just buying them for everybody."
Was it Nick Marseille in the picture? No. The PS4 was so popular, and the PS5 is going to be as well. I don't think they're going to announce these things until the summer of next year, if they're going to launch in the fall. And
you're right. And go on.
No, that's it. I think that's the play. If RDX Son of Fett, if you're wondering why they haven't announced it at Comic-Con or now, it's way too early. I think the MO is to sell as many PS5s as possible up until the very last minute that you are shipping out millions of the new revised console and the Pro, which we'll get into in a little bit. Highlander001, thank you for the 5, says, Mag, I got Mortal Kombat cabinet today. I was killing Defender and Gauntlet. It really brings back memories of the arcade I went to.
Outstanding. I'm glad to hear that. Let me tell you something. It's kind of like tattoos. Once you get one, you can't stop. So once you get your first cabinet, I'm telling you, man, it's a disease. You won't be able to stop thinking about it. Like I said, I've got 4 cabinets now. I got a 5th on the way. The 5th is going to be NFL Blitz, of course. That's going to be a port.
Yes. What were you competing against? It was NFL Blitz or something else? Or was that Big Buck Hunter?
No, I already have Big Buck Hunter. It's there. It's the third one.
No, when
down.
you were trying to figure out if you should pick up NFL Blitz or another one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that, and then there was a small part of me that wanted, just because I never really got into it in the bars and it was in the bars because I never really saw it in the arcade. Was the Golden Tee, the golf one. You know, the one with the ball.
Oh jeez.
And
Nerd.
you see all the drunk guys. Well, because you only saw that at bars.
Was Golden Tee had the white ball that you rolled to do your swing?
But then whenever they had them in all the bars, right? So
and I do say, as they held their micro. Well, they didn't have micro brews back then, but
no, they had real beer. Anyways, so
what do I know? Look at me. Here's my beer.
Yeah, not honey nut orange flavored beer. They had real, beer flavored beer. Anyways, here's the thing. So they would always have a Golden Tee in every bar you went to.
What flavor is that? Oh, it's rotten hops. That's great. Anyway, go ahead.
So you get all like, I'd see you sitting at the bar talking to somebody or whatever, and blah blah blah, and shooting the breeze, and there'd always be like this drunk guys in the corner being like, "Come on, man!" And all of a sudden you hear like, "All right." and you hear that damn ball rolling, and the guys would hit it so hard that they would always punch the top of like the marquee where the light is, and they always
Oh, because they would fling their hand?
Yeah, and they'd be so drunk and they'd be flinging their hands like lunatics, and it was just utterly ridiculous. But anyways, I was thinking about Golden Tee, but I never got into Golden Tee. The only game I used to play in the bars all the time religiously, and I would pop in like $20 a night, no joke. Myself and this other guy, Buck Hunter, which obviously that's why I bought it. And then my wife ended up, when I started dating her, same deal. She used to go to the bars with me too, and we used to play Buck Hunter all night. So we would get our pints of beer, stack them up on the side, and we would stack up like a whole ton of money, and we would just fill that machine all night. We would play Buck Hunter all night, and that's why I bought that. But Golden Tee, I never got into it, so I decided to balk on that one. And now instead, I'm going to go with NFL Blitz, which I used to play in the arcades as well. I loved it. I loved NFL Blitz.
I only played it on the PlayStation 1, and my brother-in-law and I would play when he was like 14, and oh my gosh, that's such a funny thing that I just remembered. But we would laugh our heads off playing that game. I thought it was amazing. And then when I got an Xbox original, I could never find a copy of that game, NFL Blitz, because I had so much fun.
I love that game.
I was asking my kids, I was joking with my kids the other day, since we're talking about those old video games, and I said, I was a closet nerd when I was younger. Like, no one knew that I was a nerd. And my daughter goes, Dad, you used to play video games with her little brother when you were dating Mom. Because when my wife and I were dating, her brother was 14. He had a PlayStation 1, and we would play for hours. And I was like, yeah, I hid it from everyone. They're like, no, you didn't. We all knew you were a total nerd. But shout out to people who are nerds.
Hey, man. Like, how shocking people it is when I'm in my corporate setting, and I'm all dressed up in the whole 9 yards, and I'm dealing with a bunch of squares, and they're we're all just yip yapping about the last quarter's financials and this and that, and then one dude will walk by and it'd be like, hey man, this game is coming out, whatever. What do you think about it? And I go just be like, listen, wait for a sale, don't buy it now. They're gonna have a couple of updates. It's gonna go to 1440p, this and that, blah, blah. And you see their faces, right? And the other people's faces are like, what is he talking about? He's not talking about financials and cappuccinos.
Like you're the dude right off the stock floor all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then people come to me. So I got like 15-year-old kids that all come to me, the 48-year-old old man coming to me for video game advice and what they should buy and what they should not buy. And all the other guys are like, he's not talking about Niçoise salads and cappuccino. That's not what executives are supposed to. Executives are supposed to talk about that stuff.
You know what I used to do? I used to go into the video game section of like Target, or I'd go into GameStop, and I'd be looking at games. And I'd see a kid with his mom, and he's like, "I really want this game." She's like, "What's in it? What's in it?" And I would look over, and he's like showing her Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'd walk by casually as I'm looking at games. I'd go over to the mom and go, "Yeah, don't let him get that. That game has really inappropriate content, a lot of like F word every 5. Don't get him that game." And she'd go, Thank you so much. And then I walk off. The kid would be like, "What the F, man?" And but
I would do
the reason why I did that.
It's fine for your 5-year-old.
I knew everything. Like I felt like I knew everything about video games. You always see the customers that don't know anything, or the moms who are trying to make it. Sometimes it would be a mom like, "I'm looking for a game for my son. Can you help me?" And I would say, "Don't get Destiny. It's a big waste of time." I'd totally gatekeep games, but the reason why I would tell the moms not to get Grand Theft Auto 5 was for all of you. So you wouldn't have squeakers in your lobbies when you play GTA Online. You're welcome. Thank you very much. But people got so mad when they'd hear that I would do that. I'm a jerk.
I would do.
But
it
was always like some 9-year-old kid. "Mom, I want this," and it's got the girl in the front. Like I'm like, come on now.
I'd be like, no, that's fine. I said, that's great for your 5-year-old. Perfect. Make sure you turn the volume up.
Would you really do the opposite?
No, no one's ever asked me advice on that
I
stuff.
purely did it because we played Grand Theft Auto Online so much, and you'd hear this squeaker was a very popular term back then, but you'd hear them on the mic, because you used to have open mics 10 years ago. You don't see that anymore. And they'd be like,
God, no.
"Oh,
Everything is
check
muted.
me out." And it'd be some kid, and he'd be dropping like racial slurs and swearing and talking trash and trying to grief. And we're like, "Get out of here, man. Does your mom know you're playing this? Knock it off." So that's why I did it. No, I'm not a square. I'm a beacon of the community.
Well, you're getting roasted in the chat.
I would also walk up, and they would say, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting this PlayStation 4," and I'd knock it out. No, I never did that. I never did that.
You backhand to the box, like pimp slap the box out of someone's
Are
hand.
you really going to get your kid a PlayStation? Is that the kind of kid you want to raise? Get him this box. It's called Xbox and it has no games. That way he'll mow the lawn. That was me. Dead Planet with the $5 super says the sales bump Xbox has seen from Call of Duty multiplayer begs a question. After closure, could a chunk of Xbox fans buy Xbox's back and pat because they think it's exclusive? Now, Xbox opened up some old multiplayer servers for Call of Duty. We didn't bring this up as a news item. I didn't even think about it. But it has boosted sales of games because these games are available and everyone wants to jump in play. Dead Planet is asking, could a chunk of fans buy an Xbox because they think these games are exclusive? I think people who are kind of hearing about this will think, I should get an Xbox, or maybe I should consider an Xbox now since I'm going to be able to get Call of Duty on the cheap and it'll just be a better place to play it. Maybe, but I'm not sure. Mag, what do you think? You think it's even...
What?
Do you think it's even going to change much now that Call of Duty will be on Game Pass for a cheaper price and that Xbox owns them? Will much change?
Well, there seems to be a newfound interest. I mean, the fact that the games are obviously extremely cheap to purchase, I mean, it's barely, like a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there, and you can buy these games or whatever. No, not a couple of bucks. I'm just exaggerating. But, I mean, it's obviously much cheaper. But the fact is that people are getting in there because they're becoming excited, I think, about the prospect of being able to play all those games eventually at some point. And you know what? Revisit them. See, a lot of times, like, for example, myself, I'll go back and say, I don't know. I'll just pull a Call of Duty, out of thin air. Advanced Warfare, okay? I played that. I played Advanced Warfare. I played the multiplayer. I got 1,000 of 1,000 out of it, and then I just never played it again. Once it's done, I erase it, and it's off the thing, and I'm done with it, right? And so I haven't played that game in probably 8 years or 9 years, however long it's been since that game came out. When all those games, and of course, let's also not forget, during those times, only up until a few years ago, I was buying all those games physical and then going back to GameStop with them and trading them in and getting new games for them, right? So I never kept the games. Right? I don't even have them. So the fact that they're all coming back to Game Pass at some point, that renews my interest of maybe going back and saying, you know what? I'm going to go back and play all these games again now that they're accessible. And then if Microsoft has and Activision are working on the servers, they're improving them and everything else. You know what that means? That means that they're getting ready. They're getting ready for one reason and one reason only: the influx of people that are going to go diving into Call of Duty, who've a whole new generation of people who've never played it before. I know that sounds crazy, but there are a lot of people out there. You guys are forgetting. We are no longer the market. The people in the chat, you are no longer the market. You are out. You are
it
now
certainly seems like some of the games aren't made for somebody my age anymore. Sometimes,
but the thing is, Colt, you're not the target is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm very old.
We're not the target. The chat, even guys in their 20s are not the target anymore. They don't care about you. They don't care about people in their 30s. You know what they care about? 8-year-olds. Because 8-year-olds are going to be their consumers for the next 40 years, right?
Not yet, though.
And people think that that's exaggerating.
I mean, what is Activision target for Call of Duty? Like, they know they're putting out a mature game, and they know that many places around the world that you have to, you have to be 18 to buy it.
It's all bull.
Well,
okay, it's all bull. You know why?
Buy it on the console.
My 10-year-old son can go on his console right now, whatever console it is, Xbox or PlayStation, and he can buy Call of Duty right now. Right? Or the parents are just going to go, oh, fine, whatever, click.
So can mine, but don't tell them that.
Right, but the thing is...
I had to remove that.
This is the truth. We are no longer the target. Because in 40 years from now, we're going to be in our late 80s, God willing, right? We're not going to be playing video games at that point, most likely, if we're still around, okay? If an asteroid doesn't come down sooner, but whatever. Anyway, the point is, it's those younger people, because those are the ones who are going to be consumers for the next 40 to 50 years beyond that. So they're the target, right? That being the case... When they start putting up all these Call of Duties, you get some 40 or 50-year-old fart going, I already played all those games. And then that's when Xbox responds with, we don't care. We weren't marketing you. We're marketing the kid who's never played any Call of Duty, and they're about to jump into it for the first time. Because now they're trying to attract a whole new generation.
With
My
the
son
older
has
games,
never played Call of Duty.
But with the older games, when I think about it, because who was it? JV Smooth in the chat says, are the old ones at 60 frames? And I'm thinking probably all of them that are available in back and pat are 60 frames. When you're talking about Call of Duty when it launched on the Xbox 360, the Modern Warfare might have been the one, or maybe I can't remember which one was. It doesn't matter. But I think all of the Call of Duties that launched from the 360 on have been 60 frames, and in back compat, they would still be 60 frames. And I would venture that if you loaded up Black Ops 2 on your Xbox Series X through the back compat program from 2011, I think it is, if you load that up, it would look pretty darn decent. Like, those games still look really nice because the way that I don't know, I always thought Call of Duty games did look pretty darn nice for what they are. So,
I want to address something in the chat. A lot of people are, not a lot, there's a couple of people disagreeing with what I'm saying. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You are still the customer.
Yeah.
They already got you. And that's what I'm saying. You're no longer
very good point. Yeah, very good point.
So what I'm saying is, they're like, for example, like I see you guys in there. I see what you're saying. And they're like, we are absolutely, like Dead Planet saying, we are absolutely the target. No, you're not. You're not the target. If you know how business runs, they already know that you're going to buy it, Dead Planet.
Yeah, he means they've already targeted the Gen Xers and the Gen Y people. Like, they've already targeted the people. Yeah.
For example, here, I'll give you another example. For everybody in this chat right now, let's say 5 years from now, Xbox launches a new console. Do you think that Xbox cares that you're going to buy it? No, because they already know you're going to buy it because you're what they considered a fixed install base. That's the word that they utilize for their. And you can ask it. You can ask anybody. You can ask Xbox executives. You can ask executives of any company. This is what I do. These are what you are fixed install. Okay, so what they do is they say, okay, well, right off the bat, we can guarantee 10 million right out the gate. Those are the guaranteed people, right? Activision does the same thing with Call of Duty. I'm going to buy it. Dead Planet's going to buy it. Colt's going to buy it. Everybody else is going to buy it. Cord Wayner's not going to buy it because he's too cheap. I'm just making that up because he always attacks me in the chat just for fun. we have a little banter back and forth. Risk it for the Biscuit's going to get it 2 days late because he's in Australia. Whatever, right?
Wait, he's 2 years in the future.
I know, I'm just messing with him. I'm trying to get him upset. The toilet's flushed backwards. What am I supposed to say? Anyway, the point is that
wait, the water comes
you are
up?
part of a fixed fixed install base, right? They're not targeting you because they know that you at least 70% of that install base is going to purchase the new game. They are targeting an entirely new audience that is much younger. And I get. Someone else mentioned about income. Absolutely. I have way more expendable income. Why do you think I'm building an arcade over here? You know, why do you think Colt has guitars on his walls? We can buy stuff now. But guess what? We're also the parents of the 8-year-olds, and we're the ones buying them all kinds of crap. Like,
that's what the chat's saying. That's the chat saying the parents are going to do all the buying. Yeah. And
the kids are getting $2,000 iPads for Christmas. You don't think they're going to buy them a $70 game? Come on.
Facts. Randall Thor with the $5 super. I don't know if he's still here, but he has to throw shade. He says, last week you guys had the handsome Randall Thor 19 on editorial. We don't know because he won't turn on the camera, but we'll assume he's handsome. He says, but this week, where is he? Rand is needed since Mag is old and sleepy. No one in the 1,000 people watching here would say that Mag is sleepy. Mag is on crack cocaine, and he's loving it.
You know,
I love Mag energy. It's good. It's good stuff.
I have a story for another day, but that'll be an in-person story, not one I tell over YouTube, but it's actually pretty damn funny. And it was an accidental thing.
Before I forget, I got to say, Pushing Polygons is here in the chat. He's also a sponsor of the podcast, an express sponsor, and his link is in the description. Go check out his channel. He covers all gaming stuff and even retro gaming stuff, and we've been talking quite a bit. And shout out to him. And he says, Mag, that he would pay money to see you do a skit. And I'm going to change his skit a little bit, but he said he would pay money to see you do a skit where you're in a store and you knock a console box out of someone's hand. But he said in PlayStation 4, but I would love for you to do Pony Master, knocking an empty, just get an empty Xbox Series X or whatever, knock it out of like somebody's hand, and like maybe have your son pretend like he wants to buy an Xbox and him slap it out of his hand and give him the old speech. I would love to see that.
Like hiding behind like a shelf in the store, and I'm just like poking around the corner, seeing what like someone's buying, and then as soon as they buy it, I just leap out and just complete.
Have your son like say, "Oh, Starfield looks sick," and you're like, "Not on my watch."
I'll have to talk to the games. I have to talk to the GameStop manager and see. Maybe I'll buy I'll buy something from him. I'll buy a plushie doll, a Mario plushie doll. I'll be like, listen, let me buy this
that's
doll.
all they sell in there sometimes. Yeah,
dude, it's ridiculous. All they have is those Funko Pops, and like they got a bunch of
Nintendo games. Unless you go to Gaming Forte's GameStop, he said that their back is filled with traded in PS5s. And he said on the show when we were on Rand's show a couple weeks ago, he said, how many Series X's and Series S's are in the back room? None. People aren't trading those in. They're trading in the PlayStation 5s. And I'm like, Forte, you being console war-y with me? And he goes, no, it's just how it is. He goes, because anybody who knows Forte, like, he likes PlayStation a lot. He also likes Xbox, but he wouldn't say something just to puff up Xbox. But
no, I know that.
Yeah, right?
Hey, man, that's the demographic for that neighborhood then, I guess.
Yeah, the neighborhood doesn't like Final Fantasy 16. Or, I don't know.
Wow. That's crazy because, like, the GameStop near my house, the Xboxes are just sitting there, and the PlayStations are constantly sold out, right? So I guess it's just dependent on, like, the neighborhoods, right? So,
yeah, I don't know. Well, I do know where he is, but it totally depends. My friend also lives an hour away from Forte, and he says that he'll go into their big department store in the electronics section, and he's routinely seen a couple of PS5s and one Series X. Like, he goes, I don't check often, but every time I look, there's a couple there. And I'm like, yeah, maybe he lives in an area where they actually go outside. I don't know. Who was it in the chat who says, George Alvinia says, Colt, stop snitching. I don't know if he's referring to like how I told the mom not to buy
100%.
Grand Theft Auto, but that was like 10 years ago. I would never do that now because I'm always in party chat or whatever. It's not a big deal. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I mean, I'm used to my kids' voices. It's fine. But whatever. It's just a fun anecdotal joke for the people of the younger generation.
I've given up on all that too. Even with my kids, I'm like, we're watching Sleepy Hollow tonight. I don't care.
Well, I mean, I should also say
I want
that
to see decapitations.
That 10 years ago, my daughters were in grade school and my son was a baby, and so as funny as it sounds, like I had to be careful about what games I was playing. If I'm playing a game and they're dropping the F-bomb or there's a lot of like violence, my little tiny kids walking around would look and go, and then it's just kind of feels, you feel guilty. You just feel guilty.
Well, the problem in my house
a different time.
When my little kids are walking around and my wife says, honey, how was work today? The kids hear about 75 F-bombs in the first sentence. So that's usually, so they don't say it, but guaranteed they know it.
Yeah. My son's, we were watching a movie and they dropped the F-bomb and we're like, sorry about that. And he goes, I hear it like 900 times a day at school. Well, that's the other thing. They hear it at school, right? So it doesn't make a difference. What daddy says doesn't make, it doesn't really phase what they're hearing outside of that. Because listen, I was in school too. And guess what? We were saying a bunch of stuff and things. So, hey. Right? So, yeah, I mean, we're super old though. We come from, I actually come from the very end of the era when they stopped hacking kids. Like,
just after
hacking means hitting them with the paddle in the butt. Like, that's how old I am. Like,
just
for
after
real.
the Civil War, if I'm not mistaken. It was just after the Civil War.
Meg! Jacob Tatua says, the poll is spoken. Colt, you have to shave your head. And Alex Thunders, I'll shave my face. 59%. I mean, I think I want to look mag handsome. Is that so much to ask? Let's see, where am I? I don't want to get lost. Here we go. Highlander says, Mag looks like the leader from ZOD from CNC. Help me out, Mag. CNC Music Factory. Everybody dance now.
Oh, okay. That was actually not bad.
That wasn't it.
No, I was actually thinking, for a second there, I thought he was talking about the Legion of Doom for some reason. For some strange reason, I was thinking, well, there's Call of Duty, but that's not what he's talking about. Someone help me out in the chat there because I thought he was talking about the wrestling group.
Scooter says Colt drops the dang it some fudge bombs. I really do. A mohawk. Oh boy.
Yeah, the words I use at work.
I'm waiting for there's like a 15-second delay of when we're talking till the chat can catch up. Lethal. He says Colt is so old the family car was a dinosaur. Yabba dabba doo.
He drove with his feet.
I'm trying to figure out what ZOD as in ZOD. Mag looks like that character from Kane and Lynch. Oh, classic.
Oh, nice. That was a good one. That was a great game, too. The first game was awesome. The second game sucked.
Dead Planet says Colt's 3 letters and a hair shave from turning into a Chad. I forgot Colt wasn't a PC gamer. Jacob, I just told you I spent like 20 hours playing Fallout 76 on PC and actually been on PC like half the time this past month.
You want to upset PC gamers?
I don't know what
Tell them
ZOD is. They're not getting in the chat. Command and Conquer. Oh, are you talking about shoot, what's his name? What's the bad guy's name in Toy Story 2 that runs the hotel? Timothy. He's from the hot dogs throwing thing. Rocky Horror Picture Show. What's that guy's Timothy? Oh my gosh, it's super old reference. Zod is the bad guy from Superman. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, well,
okay.
yeah.
What is his name? Timothy Pierce? No, that's a guitar player. And I'm moving on. We're sorry. This is not the 80s retro throwback. Thank you, Highlander, for that, for throwing us off to the into the ditch. Thried Wolf, thank you so much for the $10 super. He's also a channel member with the handsome Craig picture. He says, well, yeah, that's actually a great YouTuber. Check him out. He says, love the show, guys. Great job. It was awesome to meet you, Cole, at FanFest. Thanks for signing my Series S. Rock on, guys. So he is the one that in the video, everyone thought we were twins. In fact, Thried Wolf, which I don't think it's the name you went by when I met you, the name you went by at FanFest, but somebody from Xbox reached out to me because they have a picture of Phil signing your Series S, and they said, Cole, is this you? We need to tag it before we post it somewhere. And I said, no, that's actually another Xbox fan I met at FanFest. So thank you for the super chat. You're a super nice guy, and I got to sign a Series S along with like 50 other people.
By the way, it was Tim Curry. The name
Thank
was
you.
The chat helped us out there. All I could think is, Tim Curry was something else. Is something else. Hey, he also played the original Pennywise, and he was a hell of a lot scarier than that. I was about to say that clown.
He did?
He was a clown.
That clown?
Yeah.
That literal clown?
That other
He
guy.
did?
What's his? Yeah, you didn't know that? In the made-for-TV version of It from the 80s, which was way scarier.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Tim Curry played Pennywise. Yeah.
He's got that devilish smile.
Yeah. Hi, Georgie. Yeah.
Ram Passos, thank you so much for the €5. He says, just passing by to say hi, guys. Had a slash and coming back to sleep at 2 a.m. here in Ireland. We're watching full tomorrow. Love the show. Best Xbox news. Thank you so much for that. I won't go full into an Irish accent because, as you know, they have tons of different dialects over there, and I don't know them. And I would love to visit your country so much because it's so beautiful.
I accidentally ended up in Ireland.
How? Like it's out in the middle of the.
No, I was in the
Atlantic
UK. I was
Ocean?
in the UK. I was in Wales, and somehow we ended up taking some kind of a ferry, some boat. I don't know. I was drunk for like 2 days, and somehow we ended up in Ireland. Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
What a
but it
story!
Yeah, well, it would have been a better story if I was awake for half of it. I ran to be excited the fact that I was passed out, but it was several pints later. But anyways, the point was, 2 days later, I ended up in Ireland. Have no idea how I got there. But anyways, doesn't matter. My wife is Irish, by the way, just so everybody knows.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I would love to go eventually. And thank you so much, Dark CMF, for gifting 5 memberships to Dizzy Guy, Leonard Herrera, Tony B3, God Emperor, Sofa King, and Rodimus Prime. Thank you so much for that. Ignatic Dream says, Mag, can I get a what a boot it, eh? Thank you.
We don't all talk like that. What a boot it, eh? Yeah.
Your about isn't as pronounced as the stereotypical.
I say about.
You do.
What's this all about?
The only difference Mag says that's very Canadian is he'll say, get with the program. Or
No, that's not me. I say program.
No, yeah, program's correct. What's the other word? Process. Do you say process?
Yeah, process, yeah.
Yeah, that's about as Canadian
Sometimes, you know what's funny? Sometimes I say process, sometimes I say process. It depends on how it lands in a sentence. It's really strange. But you know what? Another thing a lot of the Canadians say, I don't know where the hell it came from, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, like, try that again, bud. They call everybody bud now. It's like a thing. So, like, even like let me tell you something. If you hear a Canadian say something like, why don't you try that again, bud? You're going to get beaten like to a pulp. That's coming next. You're going to get a hockey beating. And listen, man, Canadians are tough. So if you hear, oh, yeah, why don't you look at me one more time there, bud? It's over. So just go somewhere else. We don't carry guns, okay? So we're not like, here, guys. We're not carrying guns, but we carry fisticuffs. So, yeah, just be careful. But anyway, that's a funny thing. Yeah.
And you're so nice. You're so nice.
We're nice to a point.
I do like to use the word bud when I'm being very condescending to people. Like, oh,
think maybe
are you sure, bud?
Oh, someone just said that in the chat. So I was like,
What'd they say?
laugh out loud. Sure, bud.
Uh-huh.
That's Timper21. That's basically
I love
one
it.
of the things that they say. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, but I love it. I'm going to start using that now. My goal with, being on this show, being on other shows, is to be an honorary member of every country in the U.S. eventually, so I can at least claim a little bit of their greatness. Remember a couple weeks ago when we heard where everybody was from? Oh, gosh, that was awesome. Okay, so Enigmatic Dream says, thank you guys for all your great content. Thank you for the super.
Thank you, buddy.
Dark CMF with the $10 says, holiday 2024, it will have an impact in the same way that, man, people thought all those games are PlayStation exclusives. They'll need to think they're all Xbox games. He's talking about Call of Duty and Activision when the new consoles need to be bought. We really got off topic, and Fawn says, I don't know what to tell you, bud, which is an inside joke we've had. That's our really condescending statement we use amongst like our RDX friends and our group we have that we talk to. I don't tell you, bud. I don't know. Everything I've got works fine. I don't tell you, bud. My PC's going 240 frames, 8K. No problem with ray tracing, bud. I don't have to tell you, bud. Let's talk about the PS5 Pro. We were talking about the Slim a long time ago, and this thing, I believe, is 100% real. I've heard it was coming for a while. It's just Meg and I are in agreement. We think, hey, where there's smoke, there's fire. This thing exists. The real question is, Scooter says, don't call me bud, boss. The real question is, will Xbox answer with a mid-gen console? And everything we've heard up to now is kind of a no. Meg, what do you know? What's your...
No, I don't think so. And you know what? Phil has talked about that a few times. I'm not going to put words into Phil's mouth. I mean, that's, but
do your best. Do it anyway.
Well, more on that later. They're using their expertise for. I try to get his voice sometimes. It's hard to do. I have to hear it a few times, and then I can get his voice down. But anyways, the point is that I don't believe that's going to be. He's mentioned it multiple times that the Series X basically is their version of the Pro. It's a little bit more powerful than the PS5 is now. It's going to stand the test of time for the rest of the generation. And I think, me personally, I think it would be disastrous to have 3 SKUs in the wild.
Really?
That's lunacy. I think. They're still pushing the S so hard, right? They're still pushing that so hard. They're not pushing the X at all. It seems like all the focus for the last 2 years has been the S, right? And to all of a sudden introduce something else on top of that, they're not. Like I said, they're barely even promoting the Series X, right? How often do you see a promotion about the? Like, you don't see anything about the Series X. It's almost like it's like a non-existent in the eyes of the marketing, right? So that being the case, I mean, other than when they first revealed it, right? But once the Series S was out in the wild and they realized, hey, this is a lot more feasible because it's cheaper and whatever, it's a cheaper entry into the ecosystem, blah, 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 blah. They focused on the S. If they're not even focusing on the X, what would make them think that they'd launch a new SKU? So you'd focus on the, I don't know, we'll call it the X2 for argument's sake. Right?
Yeah, I like that. I've been using that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I used it, because you said it. You put it in your thumbnail. But the X2 or whatever, right?
Didn't I? Yeah,
you did. Yeah. So
I mean, I think that's a naming convention. That's like a phone. I think that's where they're going. Finally, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still ludicrous to me. I mean, I just think that like I said, they don't even focus on the X. Why would they all of a sudden focus on the X2? Right? I mean, you're not even. You haven't even scratched the surface.
You mean Xbox like pushing it or having developers use the power?
I don't see why. I mean, they haven't. They've barely even scratched the surface with the Series X.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion,
I agree 100%.
They haven't even optimized that damn thing yet.
I know, and we've talked about that a lot. I agree with you, and maybe you don't like to hear that in an Xbox podcast, but it's been a complaint that a lot of us have had, and I think most of the chats had that complaint as well. I sent a poll up just now where I asked, do you want Xbox to make a mid-gen Series X2, whether you want one or not? Because I know a lot of people would say, I don't want to buy one. I don't think they need one. But there's more to it than that, Mag. There is part of what you're talking about, your narrative of if they have another more powerful console, what does that do to the support for the S, which has to be there anyway? And will they fully utilize a $600 mid-gen refresh console? And right now, people are voting slightly. 61% are saying no.
Yeah, that's almost double.
Right?
Yeah, that's almost double of the yeses. So the people are speaking.
So if Xbox did have a mid-gen console, they have the they have the GDK, XDK they call it now. Sorry, the development kit, which would have 3 modes where you can set and test your game as an S version, an X, and an X2 version. So you are asking your developers to work really hard to get the Series S with a low RAM pool to run games really well, and then expect them to fully utilize that extra headroom that's in the X2. How do you feel about that, Mag?
Yeah, that's the thing at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, you can have the extra headroom in the X2 or whatever, but I think that what we're talking about here, we have to go all the way back. Never mind the tech. We have to go back to the beginning of confusing the customer at this point. And I mean, I know that you could say, well, there's 5 iPhones out there. Yeah, there are. Right? The console market is the console market is slightly different. You know, Alvin in the chat here was saying something. He's like, them not talking about the X is simply not true. No, that's simply absolutely 100% true. Because at the end of I'll give you an example right now. They never advertise it. They never show anything about it. They never put it on they never put it in their promotions. It's always the S. And what happened at the S and the coup d'etat?
I feel like their promotions are not even console facing anymore over the past 2 years.
No. But when they do, it's still
they used to have the Series X promos and the power of the X, and then they revealed the Series S before launch, and then there was then there was both of them, right, side by side, the tall one and the little white one, and then I think you're right, Mag.
Don't see the X anymore.
Alvin, he's right. Like, I feel like the past year or more, the console hasn't been like the face of marketing. It's mostly been the games, which is a super important.
Oh, by the way, what was the coup d'etat? And what was the one more thing at the end of the Xbox Game Showcase? You guessed it, the black 1 terabyte Series S.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Not the Series X.
So there was
Series S.
There was a heavily redacted document that came out from this FTC delay hearing thing that we're not talking about tonight because it just gets boring. But there was a segment that talked about Xbox's 3 consoles, and it is after, as far as I've tried to find out, it doesn't include the Series S 1 terabyte. So they already have 3 consoles right now. Just one just has a bigger hard drive. I don't know if they consider that console, but it's a peek into something. And Skillet Will has a really good comment in the chat. He said, Phil said that he wants consoles to become more like phone upgrades, where you could every couple of years, a few years, you could upgrade your console. Now, this is very controversial, Mag, but I really like that idea, and here's why. My phone was $1,200, and a lot of people get a new phone every 2 to 4 years. We're accustomed to getting a new console every, let's say, 4 to 6.
Yeah. All right.
So we take twice as long to get a new console, and the console is half the price of a phone that we get. Here, let me ask the chat really quick. How often you upgrade your phone? Maybe people don't upgrade their phone that often. I don't try to upgrade mine. It just seems like they offer a really good deal, and I get it for kind of free, although they're continually paying monthly for it. Let's say, how often do you upgrade your phone? So what I'm getting at, well, if I can try and do this while I'm writing, is would you be okay with every 4 years getting a new console, knowing, I think I said this last week, maybe I said it on someone else's show, would you be okay getting a new console every 4 years, knowing that when you grab this one you have right now, it's worth $300 and the new one's $600? Are you okay with that? How often do you upgrade your phone? 2 years, 3 years, I'll say 4 years, and then 5 years. I don't know. Mag, how often do you upgrade your phone? Do you know?
Every 2 years. We do 2-year contracts. The phones are $2,000. However, we don't really purchase the phones outright. It's all built in. It's all built into the monthly cost of the phone anyway. So the thing is because it's become basically a household cost at this point. Like my wife and I both get the new phones every 2 years, and it's $100 a month each phone, right? So it's $200 a month, and you're getting your full service, full everything. Unlimited data, unlimited this, unlimited that. We have 5G all across Canada, whatever, right? And we have the fastest internet in North America, right? So therefore, that being the case, is that it's built in. But that's a different story because it's built into it's basically become sort of like tradition. It's built into like the household cost because you can't live without a bloody phone now, right? So it's
right.
just become
and
like it's like
it just
a mortgage.
continues your payment. It's not like things just.
Nothing
I don't think
stops.
I don't think they're getting. I don't think our phone bill is increasingly getting bigger. It's probably mostly staying the same.
It stays around the same. And it's all subsidized at the end of the day through the cell companies, right? The cellular companies. Up here, it's Rogers and Bell, and the two big ones, right? So it's subsidized through them as well, right? So you do all that. We're paying $100 a month no matter what, each phone. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you could easily say, sure, every 4 years, let's say, you buy a $500 US, so like say $700 console up here in Canada. But yeah, you've spent technically in that 4 years, you spent $4,000 on your cell phone, right? But the only difference is that this is exclusively for entertainment purposes. Right? Whereas the cell phone has become part of our everyday life now. You cannot survive without it. You can't go to the bank without it. I can't go to the ball game without him. I can't go to a concert without it anymore because
I can't go to the bathroom
digital.
without it.
Can't go to the bathroom without it. Like I don't know if you guys have that. I'm sure you guys do. Like like the concert tickets and ball game tickets and everything. It's the moving barcodes now, so you can't.
Yeah, I don't.
Screenshot.
Yeah. I don't.
Like you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can't screenshot.
Yeah,
them
I don't
anymore
bring
because people are
tickets. I bring.
scamming.
It's on my phone.
Oh no,
What the heck is
we don't have
Fawn
tickets.
sending me a super chat, bro? I need to send him a super chat.
We don't have tickets at all anymore. There's no paper tickets left here. In Canada, everything is through your phone, right? So it's become an integral part of our life. It's basically different. Whereas consoles, at the end of the day, it's still entertainment, right? However, it is pretty cheap to be able to afford anywhere between $500 and $600 every 5 years. That's not bad. And then, of course, let's not forget the software on top of it, right? So it's still, if this is what you want to do and this is your hobby or whatever else, we make it work. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I'm just saying that if you haven't scratched the surface of what we've already got, because we lost a couple of years with the pandemic and everything else, and people weren't developing as much as they could have been, and all that other stuff, is that we lost a little bit of time. I think they could buy another year. That's just me. I think they could buy another year before we get into a next-gen console. I have no issue with it. I have no problem with it.
You mean at the end of 2024 or at the end of 2025?
I would say like a year. I'd say a year and a half from now is okay. I think that like, let's say early 2025, I would have no issue with that.
The problem is, like you said, they're not fully utilizing the Series X yet.
Not yet. No.
We haven't. Some would argue that we haven't hit the ceiling of what the Series X could do, but yet we're starting to see a lot of games shown at 30 frames. Even Spider-Man 2 was shown fully in quality mode in the trailers, but it will have a performance mode. We know that Starfield is not possible to have a full performance mode because Bethesda doesn't want it to run. This is going to be a really shady comment I'm about to say, but I meant to say it the other day. Bethesda Softworks does not want Starfield to run like Final Fantasy 16 runs on PS5. Meaning they don't want it to drop down to 720 to 1080p and not even still hold 60 across the board. Because Todd Howard said that Starfield would run at 60 a lot of the times, but it would drop too much. And I've already told you many times that when you make a bespoke console version of a game, you got to make a choice where you're going to set the parameters so that it has a nice stable experience for everybody that's on that console, because they can't change the settings, and that'll never happen on console.
No, it won't.
We have already hit the headroom of some certain games, especially as we go full next generation, where it takes a lot more to get the power out of them. And I sit back and I wonder if in 2025 they launch an Xbox Series X2 and it has a little bit of extra headroom that allows games to run at 60 more solid, or maybe have more options, have some ray tracing, which I think is what the PS5 Pro is supposed to do. Basically, it's going to give you more ray tracing ability, which I think that's very, very debatable. But the point being, I would buy one. I would want one.
Yeah, I would buy. No, 100%. I'll buy both. I'll buy a PS5 Pro and I'll buy an X2. But the thing is, and the thing is, listen, we trade in stuff anyway, right? So I mean, you might get $200 for your Series X, or maybe $200 for your PS5. You trade it in, get the new one. You're can only pay anywhere between $300 and $500 for the new one, right? So
yeah, it's actually not too bad of a. It's not like a phone. Like, you can do Xbox All Access, and Xbox wanted us to do that because it's not extra money. You're certainly not finding sales on consoles. Like, you're not able to find a Series X for $100 off. That is not happening. No. So if you were actually a person who went into this generation with Xbox All Access and paid $36 per month to get Game Pass, Xbox Live, and a Series X, you could walk right into the X2 when it launched and continue to pay $36 a month. And that's where they wanted to go, but they really haven't. We haven't heard much about that. That thing is still going. But let me read a couple supers here. We were going to do a shorter show, so I'm trying to get around through this stuff here. Dark CMF, thank you for that one that got us talking the consoles. We're going to get back into it. Boner Jams the 5 says, evening, Colteastwood, or Westwood. He always writes my name funny ways. He says, evening, Colt Westwood, and the OG Mag. Sleepy Hollow is one of my favorite Halloween movies. Yeah. What is everyone? It's so funny. We're so months away from this. What's everyone's favorite horror Halloween movie? Here's mine. The Burbs with Tom Hanks from 1988 is my favorite Halloween movie. What's yours, Mag?
I love The Burbs, but I got to say some of my all-time favorites have still got to be Sleepy Hollow is up there. Just the atmosphere alone. House on Haunted Hill from 1955, Vincent Price. Huge Vincent Price fan. That doesn't include, now I'm saying scary, like those kind of scary movies. I like the atmosphere and all this stuff. I watch the gore, but I don't watch those because it's scary. I just watch them because they're whatever, like gratuitous, like Human Centipede 2, the new Evil Dead Rise. Oh my God. Evil Dead Rise. Let me tell you something, folks. No spoilers, but there's some interesting things you could do with a cheese grater. Apparently.
Hold on. Did he say Halloween game? And I read movie. He did say game. Okay.
Game.
Did you say cheese grater?
Yeah.
What's
Evil Dead
favorite
Rise.
Halloween game? Well, I mean, we kind of covered it without knowing it, but Halloween.
I would still say
Resident.
Yeah, right. Resident Evil, anything from Resident Evil, I love those games. Resident Evil 7, and I love Village as well. Those ones that just have the atmosphere in those ones, just fantastic. Those are great games to play at Halloween time for me. And then, what's that other one? Damn it. Colt, you say something. I got to remember that other game that I absolutely adored. Oh, what's it called? Callisto Protocol. I know that's. I know that was like a bone of contention with some people, but I adored that game. That's just me.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but I'm glad I played it. I can't think of what would be a Halloween in Boner Jams. I can't think of a Halloween game other than like a horror game, which you're kind of also asking about. I'm just gonna say Dying Light 1. Like it wasn't Halloween, but it definitely had its horror. When it was night out, you were freaking scared. The first 10 hours of the game, Meg, I slept through every night. I would beeline it to a UV safe house, and I'll wait till morning. It took me a long time to where I was ready to go outside, and that's what I call immersion. My other favorite would be playing Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
Is that what it's called? On a stream with Darge Knight and Dealer Gaming in the chat, and they recorded it, and I screamed bloody murder. That was fun.
That game was so good. Honestly, I think that was my top 2, or I can't remember if it was number 2 or number 1 of last generation, the best game of the generation.
I never even finished it. I soiled myself, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
I played through it like 6 times. I played through the campaign. I go back, like, for example, when I got the platinum on Resident Evil 4, I played it 7 times, I think it was. But that's because you have to go back and do different things, right? Play it with just a knife. Play it through with just a bazooka or whatever, right? So I did all that kind of stuff. But man, the atmosphere in 7 was just remarkable. I mean, if you're a fan of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or The Hills Have Eyes,
it is very much that. I gave up on the game when you're supposed to sneak out of the kitchen down the hallway, and the guy keeps catching me and hitting me with a shovel. Yeah, I was so immersed I couldn't do it anymore. Enigmatic Dreams, thank you for the 2, says Time Crisis needs to come back. Everybody's always asking for that. Pat T with the $2 says the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles scented Xbox controllers. Your thoughts? Meg, I saw this a few hours ago. You can only win them. Is this a dumb idea? Pizza scented controllers. There's 4 of them.
If you want, guys, you don't have to bother with like doing the the giveaway and all that stuff. Just go to Randall Thor's house, and all his controllers smell like pizza. So I can guarantee you that right now. It's his favorite food. I wasn't saying anything bad. I was just saying it's his favorite food. So you go steal his.
He's
controllers.
in Chicago. They have like the best pizza in his part of the world.
Calm down. The deep dish pizza is the most ridiculous. Listen, as an Italian, it's a slight against my people. Listen, it's not. Pizza's not supposed to be a loaf of bread with sauce on it, okay? It's supposed to be a bloody crust. And pineapple does not belong on pizza. Anyways, the only fruit on pizza is tomato. Anyway, listen, Randall Thor. He leaves his basement window unlocked, usually in the daytime. I know this as a fact.
This is good to know.
So what you need to do is go to his house, sneak in through that window, take his controllers. They're all gonna smell like a deep dish Chicago pizza anyway. So just steal his controllers. He's got 800 of them because you know that he's a simp with Xbox and obviously he's a shill and they pay him and they send him free controllers so he talks good about Xbox.
Bro.
I think Phil has personally sent him 600 controllers. So just steal one of those.
The chat's so mad at me for saying Chicago has good pizza. I've never been there. I've heard it's great. What do I know? I eat Domino's from time to time. What do I know? I'm from Washington State. We don't even have pizza here.
What? That's madness.
Yeah, if you want a pizza in Washington, you order a hamburger and they cut it into a triangle. That's about as close as you're going to get.
Come on, there's got to be at least one Italian in Washington.
They cannot find them. Yeah, we can't find anybody good to make pizza now. True says Canadian bacon is ham, bud.
No, it's not. Yeah, basically it is. It is. Canadian bacon's the stupidest thing. Listen, I'm Canadian, and pea meal bacon is literally the dumbest thing ever. It's literally just pork loin. It doesn't make any bloody sense. Bacon is bacon. I agree with that 100%. I think it's so dumb.
Oh, well, you know what?
Yes.
I love you, Meg, but I adore pineapple on my pizza. Don't you say anything, because that's just who I am. And I know it makes people mad. But I don't know why I love it so much. I don't know why.
You know what? My wife loves it too. She buys every time we get pizza.
Do you ever slap it out of her hand?
Right? Well, I should. Actually, I'll do a video of that. We buy separate pizzas when you order pizza. Yeah, right. She buys her own. I buy my own.
Do you open the box, and when you open the pineapple one first, you're like, foul beast.
Because look, she gets a Hawaiian with the ham and the red onions and the pineapple, right?
Oh.
So we have a stack of boxes that show up at the house, right? Because the kids want just cheese and
do you
all
pour
that
maple syrup on it?
Oh, I should. I just should do that. Just ruin it. I don't even care.
Is probably our worst.
$20. No, this is the best podcast we've ever had. Listen, I open that box and all I can smell is ham and pineapple, and I'm like. I'm just disappointed as a human being. I'm just disappointed. I'm like, I don't need this to smell like a Honolulu luau.
I don't have a love affair with pineapple. I don't know what it is about the contrast of the flavor and Ravenous Pearl says I stand with Colt in the pineapple. I don't know what it is about that is just so it's so inviting to me. Yes, we'll shout out to 1,000 people here listening to us talk about pizza. Like, what's this? Video games.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. But we were talking about the pizza scented controllers, and you can only win them, and they actually look really cool. They have a graphic on them that has like the green ooze, which covers most of the controller, and then they have a little color bandana in the corner representing Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. They look cool, but what I'm really wondering, Mag, is where the heck is our amazing Arkham-style 4-player Ninja Turtles game? Like, imagine this. Stick with me, chat. I know a lot of you didn't love Gotham Knights, but imagine somebody took that.
I'm in.
Somebody took that and made it into a Ninja Turtles game and kind of changed things around and said, hey, Gotham Knights did some things good here. Let's just kind of rip some of that off and let's do some things better. We already know what they messed up. Imagine this, where you could choose which mission you're going to go out in or play it in co-op.
Yep.
With all of those moves like jumping and flipping and gliding and
I'm in. I know.
I am so in.
That. And when you go and then in between missions and all that, you go down to the sewers and you go to like Splinter's lair, and Splinter is where you do all your upgrades.
And your training and stuff.
Your RPG upgrades. You can get armor for your shell.
Let's make this game. Quit your job. Dude. We're gonna make this game. I'm gonna seed in like $5, and it's gonna get us going. Chat, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show, and hit the like button and tell us you want that Ninja Turtles game by writing TMNT and then fire emoji.
Yeah, dude. Imagine armor on your shell. Get new bandanas. Get whatever. Do all this kind of stuff. Upgrade your weapons. Get new elbow pads and knee pads, and upgrade all that kind of stuff. And then
imagine if Leonardo could have different style dual swords. Like they just change a little bit, or they're upgraded, and I don't know. You don't want to mess with it too much, but oh gosh, I don't know why. Tell me why.
I'm 100% in.
Tell me why there has not been a real Ninja Turtles game outside of these side scrollers that they put out last year.
I don't know.
Except for that one 10 years ago. Remember the ones?
Right. Yeah.
Platinum Games made. Look at we got Turtles in the chat. Turtles, and we have eggplant emojis.
Turtles showed up, but you know what's funny? Up until 10 seconds ago, everybody was still talking about pizza. So obviously we struck a chord there. We should just have a pizza podcast, folks. Starting next week, we're going to have a pizza podcast. It's just exclusively about pizza, what you like on it, what you don't like it, what kind of dough that we're going to be doing.
I'm so hungry right now.
We're not talking about Xbox. We're not talking about PlayStation. We're not talking about Nintendo. Just pizza going forward. Colt, on that note,
I got to ask you. I got to ask you one more thing, because this is not very Italian or Canadian. What do you think about Cella? What do you think about California chicken pizza? It's got barbecue sauce, chicken breast pieces, and red onions.
We do have that here. Yeah,
is it Swiss
pizza.
Cheese? Yeah. Do you like that, or is that like an anti thing for true Italians like yourself?
No, Italians would never like hardcore Italians would never eat that, but I do. You could put barbecue sauce as the base, like a sweeter barbecue sauce as the base. I would put a mixture of me personally as a chef. I would put a mixture of mozzarella and Asiago cheese on there. I would put the chicken. But here's the deal. You put the chicken under the cheese. You know why? Because if you put the chicken on top of it, it's going to burn in the oven and get dry and hard. So
you have to bury the chicken. Okay.
Right. And then you put on the cheese. I'd say, like I said, a blend of mozzarella and Asiago. Then I would put red onions. And actually, just to jazz it up a little bit, I put a little bit of diced red and green bell pepper on there, too. Just a little bit on top.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got that.
A touch of Parmesan in the oven. Let's go, baby. Barbecue chicken pizza. We're making it tomorrow. On YouTube.
Spam the pizza emoji in the chat. You are making me starve to death right now. Okay, let me get the last, what we got here.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, I kept saying I had to go, but now I gotta tell you why.
I didn't even hear, but if he comes back with pizza on his face, we are punching him in the head. Fonz Gaming, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Check out Games Talk Live. He's live every Sunday afternoon, and he's a good friend and a great podcast. He says, I think Xbox guys would vote for a mid-gen Xbox if it was the PS5 Pro runs all games substantially better when it drops. I think 4K 60 versus sub or dynamic 4K 30. It's hard to say, Fonz, what the resolution or frame rate target is. The problem is right now, what we're mostly getting, I would say if you had to average it across the board for big games, they're running around 1440p 60, some close to just 1080p, and we're not even getting ray tracing with that on most games. So I don't know. I would just think that if the Xbox Series X2 exists, or if it was going to be a thing, that all it would do is just get us 60 frames more often. I don't even know what else it could possibly do. Wait, Fawn says gross, Colt. On what? What's gross? The pizza? I don't know. They're still talking about pizza. I love it. Yeah, so Fonz, I don't know what... The point I'm trying to make is if there's a PS5 Pro or an Xbox Series X2, they will be slightly better. I think last generation we got to see resolutions double, sometimes quadruple. They did. They did. The Xbox One ran games at 1080p or subs 1080p, 900p, remember that? And they went from 900p to all the way up to 4K, which was a lot, 4 to 8 times more. So I don't know if that's what we're going to be looking at. Inanimatic Dreams, thank you for the 2, says, I'm a fan of Chicago. I'm from Chicago. Deep dish isn't as big as you think. Okay. I'm still hungry. I'll still eat it. DC Gaming with a 5 says, we don't agree often, but I 1,000% agree on pineapple on pizza. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't line up with most of his stuff, but the pizza stuff works. Air Force X with a $5 says, full dev optimization takes way longer than just upgrading hardware. I can play most games at 4K 60 now with a 4090, which a 4090 is a $1,200 GPU. Some of us just want it now, take my money. And I do feel like, I don't know if we're not getting the power of the Series X utilized or if we're reaching a ceiling. I really can't honestly tell you what I think the answer is. I don't know if devs just say, hey, it looks great, ship it, or if they feel like, we're doing everything we can. There isn't much left in the tank. But what I do know is the 4-man team that is making Quantum Error a exclusive for PlayStation 5 said that the Series X SSD is half as fast as the PS5, and that's why they're not bringing the game to the Xbox platform. But yeah, we heard about that, right? So let me tell you what. He also admitted that Xbox's direct storage, which is part of the tools and part of the features that actually utilize the input-output speed, because SSDs don't make a game run or look better. SSDs just move all the data, and it mostly has to do with loading times for games or loading in the worlds when you fast travel or things like that. So there's more to develop from that. I think the Quantum Error team is very small, 4 people, and they have very limited resources. So it's very easy for them to say, look, it's kind of difficult on the Xbox right now. We're going to use what we have with the PS5 because we know what we're doing there. And I don't think it's as fanboy as people think. Meg, I don't know.
Why don't they just shut up? Like, if they don't want it to be a fanboy thing, then why even bringing it up at all? Just say the game's coming out for the PS5 and leave it alone. That to me, like the way that I took it, I didn't take it offensively. Like, oh, the nerve of them. Like, I don't really care. People could say Xbox sucks all day. It doesn't affect me.
Right.
But the thing is, why even bother opening your mouth at all? And if someone asks and they're saying, "Hey, listen, why is it not coming to Xbox?" I'm like, "Oh well, our contract is with the PlayStation 5. Thank you very much for your time." For the 3 people who give a crap about the game anyway.
But they don't have a contract. I think they're just.
I know, but
they're doing the same thing that Hypercharge is, the toy soldier game. That I don't know when that's coming out, but we had them here on the show like a year ago.
Yeah.
They said that they're working right now on the Xbox platform, and they're a small team, so they don't have time to do 2. They chose the Xbox. These guys chose the PlayStation, and that's a good idea.
Just leave it at that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand why even bother saying something inflammatory that's basically going to just sound it's going to sound like console war-ish, right? There's no point of even saying. It's just, why bother opening your mouth? Just don't say anything.
Do you think maybe they're, I'm going to say this as diplomatic as possible. You think maybe they're leaning on the support they get from PlayStation fans on social media? Not so being console worry, but leaning on those fans, knowing that the PlayStation fans will rally around and help get their, because if you're a 4-person team making a game that's like AA looking or AAA looking, you do not want to fall on your face and not be able to meet your, as we talked about, like your 2.5 time return, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that if your game is great, then you shouldn't have to worry about that. The product will speak for itself. If the game is scoring, if the game is scoring 9s and 10s on wherever IGNs and your Kotakus and your GameSpots and whatever else, on Metacritic, people will notice.
Yeah,
people will go out and play the game. Like, for example, there's that other game that I think it's on Xbox now. The one that came out last year on PlayStation, Sifu, right?
Yep.
See, I haven't played it yet on either console. But I heard it was a great game, and I never heard about it. I'm like, what the hell is this Sifu business? And I heard it was wonderful. I heard a lot of people really enjoyed it. Great game. It did well. It sold well. Then after its timed exclusivity on PlayStation, it went to Xbox. It did well there too. And I wouldn't be surprised in the near future if it ends up on Game Pass at some point once it's exhausted its sales on the PlayStation and Xbox as a full sale game, or a full price game, excuse me, not full price, whatever, like a AA price game, and then it'll end up on Game Pass too. A success story. Why? Because you created a great product. So the thing is, if this other game, this quantum whatever nonsense ends up becoming a great product, then that's all that matters. Then they shouldn't even say anything. Let the product speak for itself. If you've got something that you are proud of and something that you know is going to do well because it's something that the community is going to gravitate towards, you don't need to say a damn thing.
Maybe they don't feel that way, Meg.
Well, then they don't. Then to me, that they don't have a quality product. Because
you know what I mean. Like maybe they don't feel like the game will speak for itself, and they have to hope that everyone falls in love with it. You know, it would be a really scary thing to be in that situation, to build a game which is a very small team and hope that it doesn't fall on its face on one of the biggest gaming platforms.
Of course you don't want. How about the guys who made Cuphead, right? The guys who made Cuphead mortgaged.
They knew they had magic then, right?
Dude, but they leaned on their home. They put a financial lien on their. They're from here. They're
that's
from where
right.
I live. They're both from Toronto. And they put a financial lien on their homes, their mortgages up against the game. But they, you know what? They didn't say anything. Whatever. They didn't say anything weird. They just said that they got this game, and my God, they banked their whole lives on it. Everything that they owned was banked on that game. And you know what? The product spoke for itself.
Well, you get a situation for Cuphead. Such a great example, Mag. When they started showing people or peers or maybe even the media that game, like everyone was, I would think, and if I remember back then, like I remember when people saw Cuphead, everyone went, "Oh my goodness!" Like, wow, that is super impressive. Like, does it play like this? Yes. That it plays like this. Like, wow. Then you can ride it out and let the game speak for itself. Maybe Quantum Error. Everyone goes, "Oh, it looks cool." Somebody said it looked like. I want to make sure I get him. Might have been moved up here. Shoot, I hate when I can't say it. They said that it looks like Doom and Dead Space had an illegitimate child. So maybe they're not that impressed. But I remember seeing it, going, "Oh, it kind of looks like the old Call of Duty Modern Warfare and like the ship underneath the ship level from a long time ago."
Oh, yeah.
But it's a small team, and they're making something that looks AA or even looks AAA, like, right?
Fine.
With air quotes. Sifu is not on Game Pass. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't say it is on
Game
Pass.
Red Monkey. Gaz bought Sifu. I thought I got it through Game Pass, but I got it through Game Share. So I knew I didn't buy it, so I thought I grabbed it from Game Pass. So no, Sifu it has to be purchased, but yeah. I'm sorry.
It's still a purchasable game. What I was going to say is it's really funny in the chat. Everybody's talking about seafood because I said seafood, and they're like, seafood now on PS5, seafood now on Xbox. So this guy's like, I love seafood, and I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? And I'm like, oh, seafood. Okay, I get it.
Fonz Gaming says Quantum Error looks like poo. Colt. I'm just trying to be nice. All right, I'm not trying to exaggerate as far as. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, it looks like it's big budget-ish. Hopefully it's good. But we've seen lots of games that have decent graphics, but the game has to be great. And maybe you look at a game and you think, I don't know if that's going to be amazing. And sometimes it isn't. So I don't know. And Jacob says, it looks AAA. Oh, yeah. One of the enemies is the Michelin Man. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to say, they're trying to have big production values the best they can. You look at something like Hypercharge, made by a small team just like Quantum Error's team, and it's not trying to look AAA. It looks like a really cool indie game, which is what it is. So you get what you get. You get what you expect, I suppose. And I guess people are tired of being burned. Let's see. Matthew, thank you for the Canadian 2, says development and accessories instead of consoles. I don't know what he's referring to, but Xbox does make a lot of console or controllers, but
especially ones that smell like pizza.
Yeah. I don't know. They really need to focus more on the console. There's a lot of other stuff we could have talked about, but I told Mag we were going to keep this to an hour and a half, and we went almost 2 hours. And thank you so much for being here. Hit the like buttons, get that to 500 as we get out of here. Mag, I really appreciate you. You make me smile, and I like having you on a lot, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love being here.
When's your next totally insulting video that you want to put on that you want to zeet out to the masses?
The news has been quiet since the ABK thing. The news has been even quieter since that. Like it's just been, nothing's been going on. And as we saw tonight, we talked for almost 20 minutes about pizza. So the point is, there's not a whole lot going on right now. It's the dog days of summer. Don't expect a whole lot. Maybe towards the end of August, you're going to get stuff. Hey, but we're still going to be here. We're going to be talking about some cool stuff and you better tune in every single week without fail. I will find you.
Is that a threat?
I will find you. It is a direct threat.
Yes.
That's a direct threat. You know, when people ask me, they're like, is that a threat, sir? And I'm like, yeah, what are you, stupid? Of course it's a threat. Anyways, I'm going to Zod everybody. I will find him. Okay? Everybody better be here every single week for the rest of the summer, and then, you know, when the hotness comes, you get double it. Call all your friends. But anyways, listen, I don't know when the next video is going to be because I don't know what's going on. We got to wait for some crazy news. We got to wait for something outlandish to happen, something ridiculous. I'll be right there for it. You know that. You know I'm always there. I got my finger on the pulse. I always know what's going on. However, it was a great show tonight. Chat, you guys were guys and gals, absolutely hilarious tonight.
Yeah.
You always make me laugh. Even the guys who say silly things still make me laugh. We all have a good time. It's all in good fun. But anyways, Colt, as always.
They just want you to be somebody. They just want you to always look like somebody famous. And all I get is, you look like the guy from Conjuring. That's all I get, which I do kind of look like Patrick Wilson. But I'm just really grateful. This summer I've just been like, and the kids and I have just been like laying in the pool for a couple hours and then sitting around playing video games, and we're playing Grounded and just kind of laying back while we wait for everything to get a little bit crazy. I think the news is going to start getting crazy here in the next couple weeks.
Oh, it's going to start ramping up. I think by the third week of August, somewhere around there, like before Labor Day. It's going to start ramping up, and you wait. It's going to get wild. This fall is going to be a lot of fun. We still don't even have a Call of Duty announcement. It's almost August. Like, what the hell's going on this fall? Like, it's crazy. We finally got a date for Spider-Man. We got a date for Starfield. We don't know when Call of Duty's coming. Like, there's all kinds of variables, man. There's a lot of big news coming. So I think they're just waiting for, like I said, it's the dog days of summer. This is holiday time. People go away. People do stuff with their families. They're doing whatever. And people are obviously working as well. But, you know, a lot of people are busy. So they want to wait till everybody's home doing nothing before they start dropping bombs. You're not going to drop bombs while everybody's camping. You know what I mean?
Speaking of dropping bombs, wow, that's a really respectful segue.
Oppenheimer,
great movie. So I was going to say, like, I've been really enjoying just relaxing, just taking in Fallout 76. And I've gotten to the point right now this summer where I don't know what video I'm going to make next, and I'm not worried about it for the moment. Like, I just want to sit back and go watch. Don't laugh at me. I want to sit back and watch Oppenheimer. I want to go watch Mission Impossible because we've talked about. Sorry, we're trying to wrap up, but remember you and I've talked about how the movie scene has been pretty bad and nothing good has come out. Right now, there's 3 bangers. Yeah. I want to watch Mission Impossible. I want to watch Oppenheimer, and I want to sit with my family, and I want to just sit back with a big Mountain Dew and popcorn and watch Barbie and just get away from it and see. I don't know. I just want to watch a couple of movies and not worry about everything else. And I just want to do that for a couple days, and I'm just like really hungry for that. So. True goes a heck of a transition. I don't know.
Don't watch Barbie with the kids. I've heard it's not a kids movie. It's not a kids movie.
Yeah,
like
I heard that.
Even Ken talks about his crotch. He's like, yeah, it's just smooth bump down there. Like they talk about that stuff, and apparently Barbie.
I know. I saw one of the clips where they were talking about a beach competition, and it was really. Innuendo heavy. So I just want to go enjoy that movie. I think there's a couple movies out right now where we can just lay back and relax. Hey, in the chat, as we close out, tell us what game you're playing right now, and we are going to be out of here. Meg, keep up the good work. Think about that console purchase stalker that's in the store video, because I think the chat wants to see it.
I'm going to do it at some point. Absolutely, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to wait for the right moment. And then, and of course, I got to talk to the manager at GameStop. GameSpot. I keep saying GameStop.
I do it.
And
I
GameSpot
swear I do it.
Getting in my bloody head.
I do it every time. It seems like what just happened says Colt wants to sit back and enjoy that bag Microsoft dropped off. You know, there's a rumor going around that I'm playing Starfield. And as funny as this sounds, maybe it doesn't sound funny. If you've been watching the podcast, I am thinking I'm probably not even going to get a review copy for Starfield because Bethesda PR doesn't even know who I am. So I'm just crossing my fingers.
You know what? Who's gonna review Starfield? The game is gonna take like 1,000 hours. They should have given it to you like last spring.
Well, actually,
still be playing the story.
Rand and I were like, Yeah, Rand and I were
just
trying to
kidding.
figure it out, and we would think that they would give reviewers the game 3 weeks ahead of time to try and get through the majority
Well,
of the
they said
content.
the story's what, 40 hours?
Yeah,
Is that what he
so
said? Yeah. So
something
40-hour
typically
story.
like that, a big game, they give reviewers the game like 3 weeks early, which is quite a bit of time to play through it. So I am just really hoping that they remember who I am. We'll see. But otherwise, it doesn't matter. I'll pay for I've already bought the game early, like 5 days early. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. Mag, thanks. So everyone's playing. What are they playing? Final Fantasy 16 and Remnant 2, Diablo 4. Yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. We're going to get out of here. I've had a fun show, and I'm so hungry. I want pizza.
Let's go
All
get
right,
some
Mag.
pineapple pizza.
Thanks for
Everybody
staying up
have a
late
gr-
with us. Take care over there in Canada, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a great night.